Hello, I'm Colleen Pearl the Cool Crone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video will be the February Tarotscope for the sign of Gemini. So Gemini, this is going to be an interesting reading. I kind of looked over the cards ahead of time just to get the lay of the land, and I think you're really going to want to pay attention to what's going on in February because it's a very dynamic month for you. We start out with the Strength card. And the Strength card usually indicates someone who is figuring out that they have much more than they ever thought in the way of skills and resources and talents, and that they're being thrown into a situation that they've never been in before, and they need to call upon those reserved skills and talents. I do think that this is the situation for you in February, Gemini. However, it's also sort of a test of your equilibrium between the material world and your spiritual world. So if you are holding back on yourself as far as your own spiritual practices, your believing that you have spiritual talents, then now is the time to bring all of that to the front and start believing it. So you are going to be challenged this month. There is a lot on your plate to call into question your own practices, also your own integrity and the way that you're handling situations. I want you to be clear-eyed. I want you to look at situations this month from all angles. Even though Mercury will still be retrograde only till the 3rd of February, you want to avoid blaming it, blaming things that you're unable to see or understand on Mercury retrograde. Rather, you want to dig in and really look at your situations and the things that come up in February with a very clear eye. Now, the second card here is the Four of Pentacles. And in this deck, it's a little bit different than it is in the Rider-Waite deck, but I think the message is somewhat similar. You have gained a lot. You have come into whatever your material wealth is, or your income or investments have paid off. In some way, you've been able to really gain what you need to gain, and you're hanging on to it. You're not letting anybody take it from you. And so that's not at risk. That's not a question for the month of February. But you do feel like you've really had to battle for it. Like it didn't come easily. And so because of that, now you need to take a bit of a rest. And this is all for the first week of February. You need to take a bit of a rest to recharge your batteries and maybe to recount your money. And also I want to throw in here, assess your own health. Make sure that you're not too stressed or strained over the things that are going on in your life right now so that you can forge ahead with all the strength that you really have at your disposal. Now in the second month, the cards start out with the Devil in reverse. So I'll just show it to you upright right here so you can see what a beautiful card it is. And then I'm just going to turn it around. That's the way it came up in the reading. And when it comes up in the reading, it does show that you are tempted. There is temptation around you. There are things that are pulling you towards the dark side. And I want you to resist that at all costs. Having the Devil in reverse means that your values are being challenged and that you need to be smart about what's going on around you. This is another part of the test between spirituality and the mundane life that you're being given. So heads up, be alert, Gemini. You usually are pretty alert, and make sure that you make good choices. Just be very, very clear about your choices in February. And then, this is probably you, Gemini. It's a sword, which is an air sign, the Knight of Swords. So this is a person who is pretty quick, pretty clever, always has a good witty comeback. But if they're pressed, if they're challenged in some way, they can be quite aggressive. So I just want you to, maybe tamp down on the aggressiveness, but know that you pretty much have the intellect to handle all of this stuff, all of these challenges, all of these tests that are going on in February. And so I want you to trust in yourself, believe in yourself, and stay calm. not allow yourself to get into that kind of aggressive or even hostile mode, because bottom line is you are also the Empress. So you may be the Knight of Swords with all of his abilities, but you are very much the Empress. And the Empress is nurturing. She's bountiful. She takes care of everybody. She's fertile. She's prosperous. She guides the world, right? She's the Queen of Heaven. So you also have, this is your spiritual side, that you have the ability to see the overall, to see the big picture. Then in the beginning of the third week, we have the Five of Cups reversed, and I'll just show it to you upright first. It's a beautiful card. A lot of movement in this card. And there it is reversed. Now, in the upright position, we can see that this person, this woman, the queen here, she also is the Queen of Heaven. She's got the crown on her head of the moon. She's tossing two of her cups out. And she's ignoring that one of the three cups that's left actually has a white rose in it. So for some reason, she's not happy with what she has. This is also a part of the test. So it continues on into the third week, that for some reason you're being given opportunities that you're not paying attention to. Some of them you're rejecting out of hand. Some of them you're not even looking at, and they may contain a reward or a gift or a bounty that you really want. So don't be too hasty with that. Also then, the third week, we have the Chariot, which is also reversed. This is what he looks like upright in this deck. Beautiful card. And this is him the way you got it, which is reversed, which is actually just goes along with the theme of this reading, is that as a part of this test, what's happening is there are some details that you're just not grasping. There are some issues about this situation that you're just not seeing. And so I want you to go back to the situation, and maybe part of why the Knight of Swords is coming up for you is that maybe you need to talk or discuss or message other people and ask them for their perspective about what's going on. That may help you a little bit in seeing all sides, because for some reason you're being blinded to certain aspects of this situation, which is going to harm you. It could bring you misfortune. Because then we have the Nine of Swords, and this is a person who is not doing very well. It is upright, so it doesn't mean that it's total annihilation, but it does mean misfortune. It does mean that you're just not going to get all the things that you want. This is the card that tells you that this is of your own making. You do not have to be suffering in this situation. You do not have to make these bad choices. And if you take my advice and ask for other people's assistance in seeing the situation clearly, you probably will be able to avoid this. And this is just you locking yourself up in a situation where you're somewhat a prisoner, but because of your own actions, not because of what other people are doing. And then we have the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups in normal Rider-Waite decks is saying you're walking away from a situation. In this deck, it says abandoned success. Abandoned success. Again, an issue of your own making, an issue because perhaps you didn't really see what was before you, what all the choices were before you. Perhaps you needed to be a little more discerning, Gemini. Discerning is a good word for you to think about this month. You need to be much more discerning about what's really going on. So with this Eight of Cups, she's getting ready to throw the baby out with the bathwater. She's getting ready to abandon that whole basket of cups. And I don't think that's really what you want to do. I think you want to be a little more measured about your decisions in February. I think you want to try very hard to see clearly what's going on. Be discerning. Look beneath the surface. This is why this test is coming up for you. It's giving you the opportunity to look beneath the surface and see if you can divine what is really going on in this situation that's coming up for you. Now that I do have hope, though, real hope for you, because the Knight of Pentacles is next. This is an earth sign person. This is somebody who will help you out. This is the loyal knight in the Rider-Waite deck, but this is a knight that what they describe it as in the book for this deck is that he is caressing his horse and he is contemplating his choices. So he's loyal, he's steadfast, he's slow moving, but he's very loyal. And this is a person who is of the earth, an earth sign. So this is somebody you can trust. This is I mean, if they're a Taurus, that's the sign right next to you, Gemini. Usually they're a very good friend for you. So if you can have somebody on your side that is trustworthy, that can help you, again, see the situation more clearly and to enhance what it is that you are divining about the situation. You're not seeing it clearly. You're not getting all the options that are benefits to you. You're only seeing negative. You're kind of only seeing negative things. It's really what this reading is saying. But in the final outcome, we have the King of Wands. Now, I don't think this is you. This is a fire sign, right? But it is a person who is very masterful, very much in control of their situation, very much ready to help, ready to be generous. He's also a king of inspiration. He's also a king that really likes to inspire people to go further than they really thought that they could. So with this card, we know that there is going to be success. There is going to be somebody who is courageous behind you, somebody who is very masterful at what they can do, somebody, possibly even a romantic partner, who's just very, very courageous and has tremendous ability and wants to inspire you to be the best that you can be. So that's the tarot cards for February for you, Gemini. Very interesting cards. Now let's look at the astrology cards that I pulled for you. 3 cards, they actually just fell out of the deck this way as I was shuffling. And we have the Moon, which means you need to nurture yourself and satisfy others' emotional needs. And we have Venus, which is to give and receive love, find value, and see the beauty of things. And then we have, in the middle of them, we have the Square, which is a challenging situation, a mountain to climb. These are beautiful cards. So, Moon square Venus, what does that mean? That means that you are doubting your emotions. You're not quite sure that you are seeing what's really there. And that's exactly what the tarot card is saying, that you're having these opportunities to practice better discernment. So for some reason, you're doubting yourself or you're doubting others around you, and maybe you should be, because you aren't in this situation seeing things very, very clearly. So you do need to maybe get some practical help, maybe get some other people's feedback on the situation and what's going on with it, and then proceed from there. And your oracle card, and I actually, when I shuffled and pulled out the oracle cards, I didn't think that I had concentrated enough on the cards to pull out the right one. So I put them all back together again and shuffled all over again, Gemini, and the exact same card came out. So I know this is your card for February, and this is the Fire Fairy. Get a good focus on her. Okay, so the Fire Fairy, let me just pull out the little guidebook, because they just say such interesting things about these cards. The oracle decks are just so fun because they don't follow anybody's pattern. You know, it's whatever the author and illustrator decided to come up with, and they usually, you know, channel it or meditate on it or something, and they come up with the most interesting things for guidance. Let's see. The Fire Fairy sparks ideas into action. She rules the flame of creativity and encourages you to move quickly. Well, you do, Gemini. You usually move quickly. She is also the voice of happy optimism, showing you signs, signals, and omens to support your dreams. The Fire Fairy gives you hope and courage and ensures that your dreams will come true if you simply act on them. When the Fire Fairy appears on your path, she gives you a gift, a magical sense of energy to help you complete any idea you have that serves the greater good. She signals positive outcomes for your efforts. The Fire Fairy brings you another gift, illumination. When you're in the dark about something, the Fire Fairy lends you her light so that your path will be filled with illumination. All things come to light quickly when the Fire Fairy appears. So I hope that the Fire Fairy can help you see the situation and illuminate it for you. So if you're at all into fairy energy or fairy magic, now is the time, Gemini, to call upon your fairies, also your guides and angels and your higher self, and begin to practice discernment in the situation that's coming up in the cards for you. Okay, that's what I have for you for this month's February Tarotscope, Gemini. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. And please leave me a comment down below and let me know if this reading was good for you.